Look at this image. This is the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel in Mumbai, burning during the devastating November 2008 attacks. 11 years later, in late 2019, the mastermind behind that massacre was living quietly, completely untouched, just across the border in Pakistan. This is Hafiz Saeed. For a decade, the Indian government had tried everything to bring him to justice. They presented intelligence dossiers, lobbied the United Nations, and leaned on American diplomats to apply pressure. None of it worked. This diagram illustrates the problem. Saeed lived in Johar town, a wealthy neighborhood in Lahore. His compound operated like a military installation. He was guarded around the clock by Pakistani police, flanked by secure checkpoints, and monitored by a dense, overlapping network of CCTV cameras. Sending in a conventional military strike team was out of the question. A hot incursion into Lahore would trigger an immediate, all-out war between two nuclear-armed states. If India was going to eliminate this target, the strike had to be lethal, and it had to be entirely deniable. In November 2019, a vehicle pulled into the Indian Prime Minister's residence in the middle of the night. Inside was a highly classified file. Prime Minister Narendra Modi immediately convened an emergency meeting of the Cabinet Committee on Security. Pictured here is National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, who sat alongside RAW Chief Samant Goel. Goel laid out the gathered intelligence and delivered a blunt assessment. The window for international diplomacy had permanently closed. The only way to stop Saeed was to execute an assassination inside Pakistan. The cabinet gave the green light for Operation Alvida. RAW was now tasked with bypassing every layer of hostile state security and eliminating a high-value target without leaving a forensic trail leading back to New Delhi. To breach a fortress, you don't break down the walls. You find someone who already lives inside. RAW needed a local asset. They found a man named Naved, a Pakistani citizen sitting in a Dubai jail for petty theft. Watch this interaction. A RAW handler going by the name Was posted Naved's bail and offered him a massive stack of cash. Was claimed he was simply a businessman needing a reliable partner. He kept his true identity as an Indian intelligence officer completely hidden. Naved took the money and flew back to Pakistan. Was gave him a single, highly specific instruction: rent the exact house number 120 in the Johar town neighborhood of Lahore. This map shows why House 120 was chosen. It sat adjacent to Saeed's compound, giving RAW agents an unobstructed line of sight. Over 6 months, operatives mapped out shift changes, vehicle movements, and guard patrols minute by minute. Millions of dollars of state security infrastructure were effectively bypassed. Indian intelligence penetrated the perimeter simply by exploiting a petty thief's need for quick cash. With the intelligence gathered, the trap prepared to close. Wase called Naved back to Dubai and offered him 15 crore rupees, plus relocation to the United States. To keep the Indian government out of it, Wase spun a cover story, claiming he worked for a wealthy businessman seeking revenge. Naved agreed. As Naved accepted the payout, RAW operatives on the ground quietly purchased a black Toyota Corolla. Seen in this recreation, they parked the vehicle in an abandoned construction site and packed the chassis with 300 kilograms of military-grade RDX. But they still needed someone to deliver the payload, someone who wouldn't ask questions and wouldn't survive to be interrogated. RAW smuggled in an Afghan national to drive the car, ensuring the final triggerman had zero knowledge of India's involvement. The logistics were set, the safe house was operational, the target's routine was mapped, and the explosive was ready. But in May, a single biological variable derailed the entire timeline. Wase, the master handler holding the entire network together, traveled home to New Delhi. He contracted COVID-19. Within days, his condition plummeted, and the primary operational node of Operational Vita passed away. Look at this network map. When Wase went dark, a panicked Naved exposed the plot to Pakistani intelligence. RAW intercepted the leak and ordered the safe house evacuated, slipping out just hours before forces swarmed the area. Prime Minister Modi's cabinet faced a critical choice. They could abort the mission and lose their target forever, or they could push a thoroughly compromised operation forward and risk massive international exposure. The decision came down. Operational Vita would proceed. In June 2021, RAW agents initiated the final sequence. The Afghan driver got behind the wheel of the explosive-laden Corolla. He pulled out of the construction site and accelerated down the sunlit streets of Lahore, heading straight for the target zone. Approaching the compound, police at a checkpoint tried to wave him down. He ignored them. The driver slammed his foot on the gas, rammed the barricade, and detonated the 300 kilograms of RDX. This photograph shows the aftermath. The immense shockwave tore straight through Johar town. The sheer force of the explosion completely obliterated the iron gates and the entire front facade of Saeed's heavily guarded compound. But despite the raw destructive power of the blast, the target lived. Hafiz Saeed heard the initial commotion and dove beneath a sofa inside his home, narrowly surviving the collapse. Physically, the assassination had failed, but assessing the blast purely on body count misses the actual result. The explosion sent a psychological shockwave straight through the leadership of every militant group in the region. Look at the heavy security posture in this image. For years, militants believed that as long as they stayed deep inside Pakistani territory, wrapped in state protection, they were untouchable. Operation Avida violently shattered that illusion. That morning in Lahore signaled the arrival of a new covert doctrine. India had demonstrated it would cross borders and detonate high-yield explosives on an enemy's doorstep, proving that even state-protected territory no longer offered a guarantee of safety.